like Radiolab, or like that other one with the guy who's like always finding the weird stories about revisionist history with Malcolm Gladwell.
Like, you want to have an actual theme and a
Yeah.
point to this?
Today we're going to learn about how umpires in the Major League Baseball Association eat more Twinkies because it makes them have better kneecaps.
I mean, I believe it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if Malcolm Gladwell told me that, I'd be like, I believe it.
Well, I feel like if something was narrated by either you or Whiskey, and we had like some ominous, potentially, fucking lyricless music like playing in the background, we could.
I wish I had a way of playing music. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It would be very,
This Sunday, we review the fact that something happened in Europe, and also this Thursday. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with this.
Essentially, we're going for the every 2000s YouTube documentary that was peddling fake news.
Exactly.
And how everybody took it for fact, because it was a British guy speaking over some like fucking classical music.
Oh, dude, I love that shit so much. What were those? That guy who was the British guy who was like, information is destroying life. Bush is a progeny of 17th century bourgeois influence. I don't know what that guy's name was.
Yeah. some beautiful mind shit with like yarn connecting fucking newspaper articles in their little Unabomber shed.
Exactly. What was that guy's name?
So yeah, that's how we're going to start the podcast today, guys. Are we ever going to make it through an introduction?
We need to have a theme that we play.
Well, the last couple episodes we've been talking about who's not here, but everybody's here. So everybody,
I know.
The deep one is back. No, the laugh is back. Sorry, the laugh. The deep one was back last. These names are confusing.
I also want you to know that it's been started for the last 2 minutes.
I know.
So, have we approached the problem of us talking over each other, or are we still okay?
Yes and no. Oh, that's a no.
We did, or tried to the last 2 times, and I think it just causes too many gaps and like slow delays and slows the conversation down.
I think the gaps are okay as long as we edit them out. Like, it's okay if we take time to like think about what we're gonna say, and then just like eliminate it in post. So to anyone who's listening, if this sounds really quick and like easy to listen to, it's because we edit it in post.
Oh, but did you run that past the creative director?
Well, the problem is, like, it's not thinking about what we're gonna say. It's sitting there going, "Is the person done yet? Is it okay? It's been enough time. I'm gonna start talking."
Well, I think we just need to be more rapid fire about it. Because my original idea was that if you bring a topic up, you moderate the topic until we move on to another topic that hopefully somebody has organically chosen.
That's an interesting concept for an entire podcast series, not documentary. Yeah. Where like every episode, like someone picks a topic and we just kind of keep going with that.
It's not even episode to episode. It's like, because we're a little ADD, so we could probably go through 5 topics in a single episode. So
I think it'd be interesting if we just pick somebody who is that episode's moderator, who then talks and then picks what we're going to talk about.
Oh, and then people can have fan favorite moderators.
We really need to drill into the topic. So like,
oh yeah, absolutely. It's super hard to do that though. Like, you need to be ready.
I don't know. It depends on the topic.
If you do the moderator section though, that just goes back to the earlier discussion of it just gives Chubbs the ability to have analytics to find out who is the favorite moderator.
Oh man, you're right. Shit. I can start tagging the episodes with Zenny moderated this episode and is performing 30% less than an episode moderated by let's say Whiskey. Gonna have to have a chat with Zenny about bringing up his numbers.
He's the shin.
Yeah, I can't wait to send out that passive aggressive DM over Discord. I'm ready for it.
We could also do BBC game show host style, like where it's like we have a fixed moderator and then like some stupid game that we play every single time we talk, and then like we have points that don't matter, and like some objective.
We're going to do some market research with that. I want to need you to give us some sources because
I'm pretty sure that's only part of the episode. So would that be like the same moderator every episode, and then part of the episode gets a new moderator that rotates?
Oh yeah, sure. Like you like in the middle of the episode, we like go to another topic. Like, tell me all the words that start with E, and then like you I don't know what the fuck they talk about on BBC. Like, just deal with it. And then it's like, okay, we're at the 15-minute mark. Now, Kitty is going to tell us about how steak is made. And then we like go to a side, and Kitty tells us about that, and then we go back to the game. I'm just hearing the coins fall from the sky and how good of an idea this is. Just amazing.
Nice. So we have that spreadsheet with all the topics. We should throw that on a wheel and spin the wheel.
I think it should be a surprise.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it fun.
I think we should just spin the wheel. Like when the segments come up, we have to do another segment. We spin the wheel. We go. Big money, and we are now talking about fucking elven brothels and D&D or something.
Amazing.
Well,
okay, I found out that. Oh, good.
The problem is, if we put all those topics on that wheel, there are some that shouldn't be brought up.
Well, that's where we get everybody does the awkward of like, oh yeah,
spin it again.
I mean, behind the scenes, we could also like behind the scenes, we could pre-write comments that are not offensive. Crazy idea, right? Hard to discuss.
Hold on. We've got to make sure we at least alienate part of our audience every time.
I mean, I guess so.
And by audience, I mean Tyler.
I was gonna say we're just gonna alienate Tyler every week.
You can't alienate Tyler. Tyler's just unalienable. Words are hard.
He is inalienable.
Also,
he has inalienable rights.
That's right.
Didn't we prove there's someone other than Tyler?
Yeah, statistics are telling us that we actually have on Podbean, we're actually getting like actual people. It's weird.
Wow.
Are you
How
sure?
many people? Is it more than 4?
It's let me look.
I thought we came to the conclusion it was Tyler watched it 3 times, and then you watched it and thought you were.
Well, no, I don't watch it off of Podbean. That's the thing. I don't actually listen to this on Podbean, so I'm not adding anything to the stats. And when I do listen to it, it's typically it's the 4. Who's it?
It's Kitty.
Kitty's actually listening to this.
Wait, no, we've been over this. I subscribed so I could track things on Podbean, but I have never actually listened to our podcast.
Yeah, so it's not her. Because this is actual like downloads, like
wow.
People do this.
I listen to the raw
things
files.
I don't know. We're not paying for the better stats. Let's put it that way.
I just assume one of us has an NSA agent we haven't discussed in public.
Oh man, it's our personal. Dude. It's our personal government agents listening to our shit again.
I hope it's actually like a government agent from another country too. Like someone here has really offended Kazakhstan. And it's just like, what is that asshole?
Whoa. Exactly. They're not listening. They're building cases against each and every
exactly.
one of us.
This is I'm on a no-fly list. I don't know why.
Have you heard of like entrapment? This is just a slow march to entrapment. Next time you're at the airport, you're arrested.
Hello there, government. If you are listening to this to entrap us, you have to tell us in the comment section, or it's entrapment.
That's how it works, right? If you ask a police officer, they have to identify themselves.
They have to go to the YouTube comments and just say,
this is the worst like and subscribe plug ever.
Like, come on, you're the 3rd NSA agent I've had in the past 10 years. Stop giving up on me and just like and subscribe.
That's all I'm asking for. Come on, we need you to juice up these numbers.
Just imagine you get a letter every time an NSA agent quits over you.
They charge you for it. The emotional damage.
Yeah, even worse, you get a mysterious surcharge added to your tax bill every year.
Yeah.
It just says emotional damages.
I'm allowed to say emotional damage.
Are you allowed to say that?
I am allowed to say it. You guys aren't.
Okay. That's fair.
You guys are. Maybe whiskey can get away with it, but not.
Hell yeah, I can.
I do remember as a kid in like 2nd or 3rd grade in a music class, I was talking in class and the teacher made me stand up in front of class and pretend to be an orchestra director. And he mentioned something about, do you have a cousin who's a maestro or whatever? Is his name Charlie? So Yeah, and as a kid, no fucking clue what that means because you're a kid. Like that shit, you're innocent as all hell. I was innocent as all hell, and like fucking 15 years later, I wake up and I'm like, that motherfucker.
Is it wrong that I'm sitting here right now after you told the story, going, "Who's Charlie?"
Yeah, I don't get it. I need someone to explain this to me.
It's Charlie is a derogatory term for Vietnamese soldiers.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
That's a weird connection to make about you being I don't know.
I'm not Vietnamese, but I'm close enough. And it was a town where there definitely weren't too many Asians, so that was definitely a nice little passive. Well, actually, I wouldn't even say that's passive aggressive. That's
not passive aggressive.
Yeah, that was flat.
At a kid, I must have been like 7 years old or something like that, maybe even less. It's one of my earliest memories. It's weird.
Yeah, that's
one of my earliest memories. My earliest memories involves whales, not racism. Just like I remember we were told in like second grade that the way you can tell a whale from a shark is that the whale has a fin on the bottom and a shark has a fin on the top.
But what if the whale? What if they're sunbathing or belly flopping? Or
I mean, I guess it's all. I mean, if we really want to go into the details of this theory, it would really just be dependent on the orientation of the animal, not really the orientation of the observer, right? So
yeah. Also, it's a little racist within itself because
why
you're defining or speciest at least you're saying it has to be one or the other, but yet we just put up different poses where.
All right, we're going to move on to the topic of the day. Where were you, Banjo?
No, that's how it works.
Hold on. What if there's no fins?
Then they were fucking hard. I mean, then it's a shark that got harvested for his fin for soup. Unfortunately,
that's very sad.
It's just kind of fucked up.
This is a really sad episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is really sad. We got to move on to what Banjo had
last time was sad.
Yeah, let's move on from realism and depression to fantasy then, I guess. So we have topics that are not D&D related, but do we always want to do something D&D related in every episode?
It's kind of our toolbox. Our toolbox is literally D&D. Unfortunately.
That's also how we can get away with being the least offensive because it's in a fantasy realm.
Have you seen the comments on any Critical Role episode?
Yeah, I try to stay out of those.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm afraid of D&D because people are really into it, and then like I'm going to say something like bugbears have 8 fingers, and it's just going to destroy me. Like,
but
that's what I'm really worried
about. The controversy is going to juice us up. It's fine. The gold coins will fall out of the sky. It'll pay for the therapy you'll need once we make it big. It'll be great.
What do you mean bugbears have 8? I thought they have 10.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying examples.
But anyway,
he's already crumbling.
I lied about the escaping from realism into fantasy because the topic of today is our adventure groups, the PMCs of fantasy world, and what is their economic and political structure there.
Who added that to the list?
That's a pretty intense question.
Did Hideo Kojima have access to our fucking topic list or something?
Okay, so PMC is a personal military
private military contractor.
Okay. I have not played Assault in a while. So.
I like that the one in the military is sitting here quietly to himself going, "What's PMC?"
How did this just happen? How did you guys take something so interesting and just completely ruin it? How'd you do that?
How is it ruined?
It's like you sold me at the PMC question. Okay, I was like, you know what, that's a good question, and then you started talking about the economic kind of aspect to it, and I'm like, nope, I'm gone. It's like, hey guys, should we talk about realism or fantasy? All right, let's talk about fantasy. Well, let's talk about a realistic approach to it.
Yeah, let's slow roll this. All right, we'll get to the economics if we get to the economics, but let's start with his initial question. Are adventurers PMCs of the thing? And my answer is yes. But everybody
a further question to talk about with this, which is like, what is the distribution of the levels of heroes? Like, are there like lots of level 20s? Are there only a few? Like, what is this distribution look? Is it like a normal distribution where everyone kind of levels out around level 10 and dies? I think this really matters because like level 20 person is supposed to be so powerful, like they basically can just like destroy a country effectively. And it's like, how does that play into the world? Like, how does that work?
Like a world
Where's
full
that
of
balance?
isekai heroes.
Well, I think that kind of comes into the power structure is that a PMC can get more well equipped than a normal soldier. So then they have, I guess, better equipment to raise their level.
Okay.
They also have like 3 cheat deaths, and yet, the farmer just dies just from being looked at by the goblin, it seems. Yet the adventurers go down and somehow they get back up afterwards, or they go down, they're dead, and then either they get revived by some crazy ass spell, or they become a lich. They got a lot of plot armor.
I mean, well, is it plot or is it just levels of private healthcare? Come on,
private healthcare. Yeah, my adventurer is a member of Kaiser.
It's capitalistic armor.
So why are you going as far as PMC?
Oh no, it was go ahead, Whiskey.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna go the opposite route here and say no. I think the guilds are PMCs. I think actual adventurers are mercenaries, independent contractors,
or cannon fodder.
What if the Adventurers Guild is just essentially a private, non-government intelligence service?
Intelligence services don't go into dungeons and murder people.
Well, I mean, but intelligence service with but they say about the CIA, but the CIA has a kill team, so you know what I mean? It's and they can be in very strange places, like the back of a tailor shop.
Okay.
Sorry, I just watched the new Kingsman movie like 5 hours ago, so this is very fresh in my mind.
Very, very influential in this current discussion, then.
Yeah, it's a little biased.
I feel like this conversation's been led to an area I wasn't ready for, and now my train of thought has stopped, and I don't know what to talk about anymore. It's a little disruptive.
Well,
so let's throw a relation in there. PMCs are often they'll commit war crimes and change their name, and adventurers they do the same thing, except for they don't change their name.
They just commit war crimes.
Yeah,
commit a lot of war crimes.
So war crime is the correlation and nothing else.
Well, I think it's kind of like a cop can use a hollow point round on an American citizen, but like a Marine can't use a hollow point round when invading Syria. It's kind of like that, right? Like he's not like a member of the military,
okay,
so he can get away with a lot of stuff.
Do you want to get into a realistic discussion about that? Because I could talk to a lot of the reasons why military versus cop has that distinction, which I don't think.
Well, if you would like to discuss it in terms of adventuring groups and bullshit fantasy stories, let's do that.
I think in the context of what Whiskey said earlier, I would agree with him then, in that it's not the adventurer or Marine in this scenario that is the PM or the PMC. The adventurer is the PMC. It would be like the guild, because the whole big thing with what you just said is for a military, when they do that, like anytime they pull a trigger, they have to know, like even me as Navy, where I never saw combat at all, I had to know like escalation of force, the rights of pulling the trigger, and self-defense, justification. I had to know that if I ever was to shoot something, I was going to go to court, irregardless of what the situation was, and I had to prove that I did it as a necessary means. Cops don't have that. So it's the fact of, in the military, you are held accountable by this higher entity, much like the guild, whereas in police force you're not. So it would almost be like, if it's a freelance adventurer, I would say no, but if it's someone in a guild, yes.
Could you imagine being some like level 4 human warrior in like a military, and you like slay a goblin, and then you have to go in front of the magistrate to explain to why you did it? Imagine that campaign being run.
I kind of want to do it.
Oh boy!
You didn't have the right to kill that goblin. You didn't attack first. You didn't use a blunted sword. Go to prison.
I just thinking of like Jack Nicholson, like doing the whole like You don't want the truth.
We're the men on that wall, protecting us from the goblins. You can't handle the truth.
I'm just imagining like you talking to a friend in real life, and then they're like, "Oh, can I join on your D&D game?" And you're like, "Yeah, but you're just going to be sitting in the courtroom watching the."
That'd be amazing. It's like an 8-player game, and like 6 people are the jury, and then there's like a judge, and then like the person on trial.
Yeah, and then there's like a hand-drawn backdrop that everybody's heads are cropped onto these characters. Weird. Like, that's amazing. Why have no one ever done that before?
Everyone in the jury, please make an insight check.
You gotta have that one character who's actually like trained in something law related to actually defend or prosecute the player.
Oh man.
Like, excuse me, I have a +3 in litigation. This is going to happen.
Oh no.
Oh dude. Like it's like a level 3 druid level with multi-class into lawyer.
Could you imagine if you were like you're just an adventurer selected for jury duty, and then they choose not to put you on the bench?
And then you run a side campaign where you go arrest people who skip jury duty.
Oh my god. I'm getting ideas
like very
for
complicated.
I'm just imagining the start of this. It's like you receive a summons note, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on a quest," and it's just like, "No, it's a jury summons."
Spend the first 3 sessions sitting in the waiting room to see if you get called for the jury.
Well, I can't go to the summons. I have to slay Bestemet, the evil entity at the end of the halls.
The wheat needs to be harvested.
They're like literally about to throw the killing blow, and a couple of freaking constables show up and arrest you. They're like, no, you didn't show up for jury duty. And you're like, but killing's a big bad. Come on, give me 2 seconds. So if you have in the middle of murder, it's time. Sorry, we're slapping new charges on you now.
The poor level 14 paladin who was just about to end the plague from the mind flare living under the town has to go to jail for 6 weeks because he didn't sit on a drunk driving case.
He's just emotionally distraught. He's like, I failed the law.
Hey, that's a complicated case, okay? The farmer had been told many times to keep his donkey out of the fermented turnips.
Oh, dude, is the donkey on trial? That'd be amazing, too.
Well, yeah, it's a fantasy game. Come on, talking animals are a thing.
There's like a druid in the room, like
speak with animals.
Yeah. Why do you do it, donkey? Well, I just like the taste of hops. Am I a member of this law? Didn't know it applied to me. I'm a donkey.
Oh, that makes a really good point.
What do you mean?
Like yeah, the laws wouldn't apply to the donkey. They're like human laws, wherever.
The donkey is allowed to drink and drive itself. Like, I don't know why not.
Well, this ties back into our Elven economics discussion about jurisdiction, and I think we came to a conclusion that it's based on the law of the land you're currently in, not the law of your.
Wow. So every animal within the realm of humans is subject to human law.
No, because so over here it's called OUI, so operating under the influence. If you're a donkey, what are you operating? You're just being
yourself. You're operating.
Yeah. What you could get, however, is public intoxication, which is a lesser charge, but not an OUI.
Oh wait, no, it wasn't law of the land. It was law of your race. So then, if you're like a half elf or then you can be tried as an elf or a human.
Yep. So this whole talk just makes me think, you know what, like PMC adventurer aside, the worst, I think, like profession to have in a D&D fantasy setting is a lawyer. Could you imagine having to fucking just fight and uphold all of these rules? A rules lawyer.
Well, I think, I'm an expert on this because I have recently watched The Last Duel, and there is a law scene in that. Like, there's no actual, like, real, like evidence that gets played in. You're just like an old man who's like, I know that swords cause bleeding, therefore the donkey was guilty. Like, there's no logic behind it. It's just like hearsay that like supports the status quo of the rich old people. So I think it'd probably be it.
If it's a drunk driving case, clearly there was a drunken donkey pulling a cart. The evidence is kind of there against the donkey.
Did the donkey put the cart on him himself?
Yeah, it's like I like that the donkey's the one in trial, not the owner.
This would be a very perfect explanation for a medieval case, though. The donkey was drunk, I was driving him. That's why we crashed. Don't mind the fact that I was drunk too. It was the devil.
Oh, see, now that's introducing evidence after the fact.
It's true. It's true.
But it does really open up a bunch of dynamics, because if you have a druid that can talk to animals, an animal can be treated as a sentient, fully liable creature at that point.
Do you have to have an int of 3 to like communicate logically? And like, does a donkey have an int of above 3?
Well, he does if he stays out of the fermented turnips.
So I'm just sitting here imagining like people in prison, and they're like, "What are you in here for?" And the ranger's like, "Oh, I'm in here for using inhumane tactics by using a broadhead arrow instead of a just like a normal non-broadhead
a barbed arrow as opposed to a regular arrowhead."
Yeah.
What'd you shoot? Besimet. They still fucking got me. I came back thinking I was gonna be lauded as a hero. They slapped cuffs on me.
Didn't follow the rules of engagement with Mephistopheles. Okay, I looked it up in a donkey. According to the D20 SRD, a donkey only has 2 intellect. So even if you cast, like, speak to it, it wouldn't be able to communicate with you because it's not smart enough, right? Is that how it works?
Are you just assuming the donkey's intelligence?
Wow.
No, I'm looking up the stats. This is the D&D world. Everything is written down by gods, aka people who write player handbooks.
I don't know if there's an actual number for like when something is intelligent enough to comprehend reason and law, I guess.
Yeah, what if it's a 2 in donkey intelligence? How do we know that that's not really high?
Well, it's not donkey intelligence. It's a 2 in overall intelligence based on the entire world of all creatures that exist.
Oh, yeah, does that count rocks?
Yeah, those would be 0.
Now I'm trying to do
So,
math.
the Speak with Animals spell page, this is 5th edition, says, you gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts. This is the Druid's perspective. For the duration, the knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but at minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including including whatever they perceive or have perceived within the past day. So the donkey could tell you, if it was in an accident, what happened. With Speak with Animals.
But
you can't defend
for one day.
It's only for one day. Afterwards, this mind is blank. And then it also says, I think it's the most chuckling note of this, it says, you might also be able to persuade the beast to perform a small favor for you.
Oh.
I don't know why that's so funny.
What kind of favors?
There's that fantasy brothel again.
No. Do you have to persuade the beast to go to trial?
But the trial has to be within a day, so this court system has to move fucking fast.
Yeah, this is really light.
Yeah, that's kind of unrealistic right there.
Like, we have a witness to the murder. But the murder took place 3 days ago, so the witness is kind of null and void at this point.
Who was your witness?
Like the security cams, and they used to write over themselves after, like, a certain amount of time to save space and storage.
Like that. Yeah. Who was your witness? The chicken.
It's always
chicken.
Always a damn chicken.
Dude, it must be really hard to win a case against a druid, though, because I would just keep an animal with me at all times as a perfect recollection of history.
Well, the thing is, too, right? How would appeals go, right? What if you wanted to bring in your own talk to animal specialist, but the closest one was like,
your own druid
right over. Yeah, right. And then it's like, that's part of the appeal process. Like, I need somebody else to fucking interrogate the animal. But I have like a 3-hour window left before they forget.
Would this be the main source and cause of urban druids?
Oh,
Lawyers.
city lawyer druid.
You have the right to a druid if you cannot afford one 1%.
Oh no. If any animals are in your presence, they can and will be used against you in the court
And the name of that druid, Ally McBeal.
I was thinking like you have one that went to some college and it's Dr. Doolittle.
Also acceptable.
I do say the elephant does have a good point.
He
were
never
operating
forgets.
the vehicle. He never forgets. It's
He's-
a class trait, a racial trait.
You just never want to commit a crime around an elephant.
That sounds horrible. And inconveniently have a druid walk out of a bathroom or something when it happens.
What are
You like steal a lollipop and there's a rat in the corner. Like I got away, and then like a druid walks out with a hot dog and it's like, oh, you're fucked.
Oh, not even just urban druids, but urban druid cops.
Oh, ooh, that's even the worst.
Yeah,
They could just ask the
fucking
animal.
city guard interrogators that are druids.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds terrifying.
How did druids become the most overpowered class?
Well, you know, when you set up a series of legal systems and laws and stuff like that, it just it writes itself.
Here's what's amazing about druid cops, though. They have to remain true neutral to level up. So if you like a cop who's still level 3 and he's like actually like 48 years old, you're like, this guy's not true neutral anymore. He's not my lawyer. Like, he can't trust him.
That's the one
so
you
it's
can
like-
bribe.
Yeah, so it's like getting promotions, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the city guard, you're like, oh, this motherfucker is stop passing his druid review board.
No, he's not. Then like the druids would change shape in lawyer in the law room. I don't know what the law room. What am I thinking about? In the courtroom. Yes, it's called the law room.
The room of
I think the law
law.
room would be something else where the laws are made or something, not where they're used.
So in the law room, would they have to have animals there to provide feedback to make sure that the laws are accounting for all of the animal testimonies?
Literal dog and pony show.
Oh, God.
Would that be a part of asking the animal for favor? Jesus Christ. Would that be a part of asking the animal for a favor during the speak to animals part of the job? Like, please give me a scholastic review of my law. And the animal's like, pass your charisma check.
I don't think that'd require a charisma check, because then wouldn't the animal be held in contempt?
It's animal handling. Oh no!
Oh, it's animal handling? That'd be hilarious. It's like, oh, why are you an animal handler? Oh, I need to convince all the animals in the law room to vet the bills. This is just a very weird topic. I apologize. Everyone listening. It's just getting really out there.
We have
Welcome to our podcast.
yeah. Usually what happens. Yeah, we have diverted from the PMC talk.
The druid law.
Have we really? Because I think this does apply to the, political part of that, is that it's part of a much bigger system. It's not just, the adventurers and, whether or not they're a PMC. This applies to an overarching system of possible checks and balances and where different jurisdictions come into play. I mean, if you really want to classify things, Whiskey did have it right, where it's not so much the adventurers that are the PMC, but a governing body of the Adventurers Guild. But at the same time, though, there are private mercenaries, which would probably be those level 20s that were mentioned earlier. Because, once you're that high of a level, who's going to keep you beholden to any laws? You're level 20, you can wreck shit. That's when you become an assassin or a mercenary on your own.
Do you think the level 20s fight each other?
Level 20, I would wager, is an equivalent to a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
So
true
do
too.
you have like the 20s have to like pull each other Highlander style periodically? So
Yeah,
there's only
it
so
can
many
only be one.
20s.
No, it's every country has level 20, a stockpile of level 20s, and they're not used. They're just there for.
So the arms race for each country is You try to recruit adventurers and throw them into shitty situations so that they gain experience as fast as possible to get up to level 20, and you amass another level 20 hero on your side. But you gotta be careful. You don't want to make them jaded and hate your country.
Oh, and that's where the Druid legal system comes in, because you're going to need to protect your chosen hunters and adventurers and whatnot while they're, committing all of these so-called crimes to get to level 20.
You offer the protection. Oh god, no, I can't make that joke.
I feel like it would just be a series of high-level wizards who had their wish spell reserved for the state.
What if there's a shadow war going on where all these nations with all the level 20 wizards are just basically wishing back and forth? Like, just a wish war, right? Like one wizard's like I want to snap this other civilization out of existence, but their wizards are like, I unwish that. It's just that's basically high level warfare. We don't know.
And then it's like this whole like multi-dimensional like evolution of like reality based off of what all the wizards are wishing, and then like you would have to like have a wizard industrial complex to manufacture wizards to like have wishes available for combat. So I just imagine there's these poor like humans like stuck in like these towers like being tortured, so they gain wizard intelligence and like being forced to like read wizard books and they're like like.
But it's horrible because you can only have so many wishes in your in a life because it takes away
exactly.
from you.
And so like once you use your wish, you're just thrown away. Like you're just thrown into the meat grinder of flesh that feeds the other wizards.
They just drag you forward and they're like, use your wish. You're like, please, no, I don't want to.
I'm still useful while I have wishes.
Use it. Holy shit. That's terrifying.
I'm just imagining like a country that does have that, or a kingdom that does have a lot of wizards like that. I bet all their animals are very well fed from bribes.
Right?
That's why when you walk into a town, you just check all the animals. Are they like abused and skinny? Yeah, famished, or are they just like fucking fat?
Oh, it took me a little bit to understand what you're talking about. You're saying they bribe the animals who are in the Druid court with food. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, so because you need to be committing those war crimes to level up your wizards to get the wishes.
That's true. So I'd be like, Rat, we're using animal talk right now. I need to ask you a favor. Eat this cheese and don't tell them about the wizard factory below the bar.
Ignore the screams.
It's like, all right, I won't tell them about the wizard factory below the bar, but what about the winery? Fuck! Okay, there's 2 pieces of cheese. Deal.
You get to keep doing wishes.
So the good thing about the Wizard Cold War, right, too, is it actually gives all the other adventure classes a job, because obviously there's the covert Wizard War, but then there's the overt like countries going, guys, shit, we need to go assassinate their wizards so we can diminish their fucking pool of wishes.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy. Like you go into a wizard tower and it's just like a bunch of like non-wizard guards, and then at the very top is a wizard like strapped to like a fucking like torture chair. He's like, please kill me.
I have a wish left. This topic seriously is just like, we need to stop talking about this. This could be a book or a novelle series. God damn.
I so agree with you.
Zeddy's like, I need to monetize this right now.
It reminds me of like what is the Psychers from Warhammer 40K? Yeah.
Well,
gotta feed the
10,000 wizards for the Wish War every day.
So the
ground to paste.
The Cold War concept, that's kind of, I don't know if you guys read it. Did you ever read about like the Sundering and Wizard of the Coast lore and why it came to be and what happened with it?
Is the Sundering when like the gods decided that magic wasn't good enough for the material realm anymore?
Oh, no, it wasn't that magic wasn't good enough. It was that the material world was abusing the fuck out of magic, and so they essentially one of the a human ascended to godhood, took over the god of magic, killed the god, like that human died, that god of magic died, and then so a new god of magic was born, and that new god of magic was like, all right, this was stupid. From now on, humans, or not humans, but just the material world, you have level caps, and that's why there's ranks in D&D lore now, was because before there wasn't. And the magic that the people were coming up with in civilizations was just crazier and crazier, like even beyond the wish spell. And so it just created this insane power struggle.
Imagine ascending to godhood and then being disappointed. I think that's what happens. That's all I can think about.
There was more that
how
happened.
I feel about adulthood.
Yeah, there was more that happens. I don't remember all the details. I don't want to say it because, like you said earlier, there are a lot of people that are very passionate about D&D, and if I were to say all the stuff wrong, I'm sure I would just never hear the end of it.
So they would comment on our media. Is that what you're saying?
You're saying there would be engagement.
No, we are not using engagement in a form of berating myself.
Anyway, listeners, if you think druids are the best lawyers, put a happy face emoji below this. If you think they're the worst lawyers, put a ghost.
I think that's how we should end the podcast.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we're good.